In April, a handful of unexplained explosions in the small Eastern European nation of Moldova sparked concern that that country might be under attack from Russia. Why? Well, Moldova, which is nestled on Ukraine's southwest border, has many similarities with its larger neighbor. Most importantly, it is on a swift march toward democratization and westernization. In fact, in late June, it was granted EU candidate status alongside Ukraine. But Moldova also has a Russian-backed breakaway region called Transnistria, where 30 years ago, Moldovan forces fought Russian troops. Today, Russian troops are still based there. I wanted to know how it felt to be caught between Russia and the West. And I had an opportunity to talk to Moldova's Prime Minister, Natalia Gavrilitsa. Madam Prime Minister, pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about Moldova. Moldova is another country, it seems to me, like Ukraine, that once part of the Russian Empire, once part of the Soviet Empire, really wants to become a Western liberal democracy.
Indeed, Moldova has had a troubled history in a complicated region, and it has not only been part of the Soviet Union, it has also been part of Romania between the First and the Second World War. The majority of the population is Romanian speaking, but we also have Ukrainian, Russian, Bulgarian, and Gagauz, which is a Turkish speaking minority. And in the last elections, the people have voted massively for a pro-European majority, for going the course of democratic institutions, fighting corruption, ensuring the respect for human rights, and striving towards the European integration course. So achieving candidate status for EU integration has been a significant victory for Moldova, one that the people have waited for a long time. But it is very unfortunate that it happens in such a complicated context in the region and such horrible times for Ukraine.
Tell us what it's been like to be dealing with this Russian invasion of Ukraine, because you are right there, as you say, and I think 500,000 Ukrainians have passed through your country. Describe what's going on.
Indeed, as many people around the world, we were surprised on the 24th of February when Russia invaded Ukraine, and we had to deal very quickly with a massive refugee flow. And of course, there were some contingency preparations and there were some plans, but of course, we did not consider the probability to be very high. The entire society mobilized in an exemplary way. And Moldova not only helped 500,000 refugees move through Moldova, but also at some point was hosting the highest number per capita of any country.
How worried are you that the Russians will move next into Moldova?
We are worried. Of course, this is a risk. It's a hypothetical scenario for now. But if the military actions move further into the southwestern part of Ukraine and towards Odessa, then of course we are very worried, especially considering that troops on the territory of the secessionist Transnistrian region. We are doing everything possible to maintain peace and stability and to ensure that the fighting does not escalate.
For you, when you look at the situation in Ukraine, explain the stakes. If Russia were able to get away with this aggression and keep the territories it has conquered since February 24th, what kind of a position does this put you in?
This is a very difficult position, not just for Moldova, but for any small country, any country that relies on the rules-based international order. If a country can start an annexation war without any regard for international law, then in this sense nobody is safe. And I think that a lot of countries are worried.
You're paying a pretty heavy price economically. Do you think you'll be able to continue to hold, to do what you have to do, even if the price gets higher?
Indeed, Moldova is the most affected country after Ukraine economically from this war. We saw already very high inflation. The inflation in June was at 32%. We continue to see a rise in energy prices. It has gone up sixfold since the government assumed office a year ago. And just to give people perspective, the average consumption of family in Europe of energy is about 5% of its income. In Moldova, before the crisis, it was 15%. Now, if the price goes sixfold, then actually this is above any reasonable affordability level. But we really hope that our society and our people are resilient enough to fare through this very, very difficult time. But we have seen, for example, in polls that even after receiving a very large number of refugees, 85% of Moldovans say that they would receive more refugees, and 50% say unconditionally for whatever time. So this makes me very optimistic about the wisdom of my people.
Madam Prime Minister, pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.